All right, team. So there are some signals that are pointing at a potential floor, and there also are signals of a continuation to the downside. But let's go ahead and take a look at the bull perspective on this case. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again. This is ARCa coming at you with the GTII technicals, raw price action, and statistical threat of analysis on this Thursday. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community and Discord called ARCa Bulls. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. Okay, so yes, per yesterday's analysis, we were looking at the potential of touching down on this range right over here, which is about 121 to 130, or I think I actually said 131, right? But it does look like we actually found a very nice support there, and this I mean, it's almost dead right on it, right? But there is still, remember, there is still a range here, okay, that we need to look at. And that's, obviously, this is one sign for the bulls, right? Another sign for the bulls is actually on the DMI indicator. If you can actually take a look at the ADX, which actually represents the strength of the current trend, the bulls are actually, they're trying to take control, right? So meaning that they want to take over the green line here, which is the bulls. The bulls have been in control the whole time here, right? So now it looks like the bears want to try and take that control, but the curious thing here is that the trend, it's showing that there's a really minimal amount of market trend right now. So that it's funny that that's happening as the bears are actually trying to lift off with getting a lower read in the trend, right? So this is actually a pretty good signal, okay? But I want to continue on the analysis and touch on a couple factors that may be actually leading to an upside. For example, this. The 12-hour chart here, what we're looking at is actually particular to this indicator, the stochastic momentum and the price action. Okay, so you are looking at divergence here, and divergence is actually the opposition of price action versus momentum. And in this case, momentum actually represented by stochastic momentum, not by the RSI. Okay, so what we're looking at here are three drives of potential hidden bullish divergence, which usually happens when price action makes a series of higher lows and momentum makes a series of lower lows. Okay, so why I am pointing this out right now is this. Okay, so let's just go ahead and zoom in to the stochastics oscillator and take a look right down here. Okay, so I know obviously these are just a little messy, right? But if you can see both of the, all three drives are actually at a pivotal point here. So there may be some type of something that that leads to an upside. Okay, so first of all, how would that be possible? Well, please remember that the stochastics oscillator runs with two different averages, right? So you're looking at the 3-day exponential moving average, which actually takes a closer consideration of price action, and you're looking at a 14-day simple moving average. Okay, so what I'm talking about here is potentially something like this. Okay, so in this iteration here, you can see that the 14-day simple moving average actually started to make its pivot point, and the 3-day exponential moving average came in slightly later, right? So it looks like that could be the potential now, because there is still a little bit of downside pressure for the immediate short term or the shorter term time frame, while the larger term is actually starting to correct, right? So very, very likely what could be happening here is something along the lines of this, right? So let's just go ahead and draw it, draw something like this here and a potential continuation, right? Something like this, just for kind of an example, right? And now the 3-day exponential could be doing something like this, right? So where we can actually start to pivot and start to correct, right? Of course, it doesn't actually have to happen the way I'm telling you right now, but there also is there's also the off chance to where we can actually just kind of consolidate here within the oversold percentile, right? But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because there is a pretty significant pivotal point here on the 14-day simple moving average, which is usually indicative of an upside coming in, right? So I'm going to leave these drawings in for our future reference, right? So we're just going to go ahead and actually, you know what? I'm not going to leave them the same color. So I'm just going to slightly darken them just so that we can tell the difference between them when they do start to make their crosses, right? So sorry, let me just go ahead and choose maybe like an orange. There we go. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and now close the momentum oscillator off and just go ahead and move on with the analysis. So yeah, this is just another kind of 3 potential drives that are leading to an upside, but we still need the validation for them. These are very much invalidated at the current moment. Okay, so now if you do look at the RSI on the 12-hour, you can see that there's still a pretty significant drop and a suggestion to the downside. But if you look even closer, you can see that this there was a slight pivot right here that ended up pitching this the curvature. Even if you can see it here, right? I know I'm just trying to zoom in as much as I can so you can see. So you have this pivot here, and it goes down and it goes up, down, right? So the pivot that you're looking at right here is actually a lot more forgiving than the pivots that you're looking at back here, right? So those are kind of the nuances that I tend to look at when I trade. And another curious thing is that we are within the gravitational zone of the oversold percentile, so which usually means that we can face a type of retracement from this area, okay? But I'm not trying to spread hopium here. What I'm just trying to tell you is that there are signals kind of indicating a potential something starting to happen. Okay, so I just want to be utterly clear about that I'm not suggesting the reversal to be now or a type of pivot point just exactly at this moment. We still have further validations to kind of look into, right? So another thing here is, guys, is that per the 3-day statistical backtest of volatility versus momentum, there is actually an incline of volatility, as the volatility is actually now the component itself is starting to cross over the moving average, which usually is indicative of incoming volume or incoming just activity, right? So this is a good metric to kind of keep an eye on. Another thing is that I did mention yesterday that we could have a high potential of failing our regression line here, but that still isn't the case, of course. But unfortunately, tomorrow is not open. The markets are not open, right? So we're gonna have to see what the 3-day candle close, which is this one here. We're gonna see how that affected our 3-day exponential and 14 simple, right? So this is likely going to be showing us the effects of maybe even crossing our regression, right? So there could be the chance of failing the regression here, but that doesn't mean that it's all over. It just means that we failed the regression, right? So the next case would be actually to potentially find a pivotal point here a little later, right? So, and now we already kind of finished with the 5-day volatility backtest, right? But same here though. This candle actually just started, and you can see here that the effect actually came in to pivot the 5-day iteration to the downside ever so slightly. But this was actually way better than I thought. I really did think that there was going to be some type of real pivot to the downside here, like a significant downside pivot. So I mean, it's not as bad as I thought, which is actually a pretty good thing, which could be indicative of a floor being found relatively soon, right? So let's go ahead and continue the analysis here on the RSI, and the 30-minute immediate short term looks to be limited on its downside. We're starting to get some consolidation reads in the shorter time frame as well. Okay, so, and the 4-hour looking like it's losing that bear pivot, right? Which is a good thing. It is a very good thing. So, and we already saw the 12-hour minimizing that pivot as well. The bi-daily time frame also showing that, right? So if we can just zoom in just a little bit or more, actually just a lot more, sorry. Just so you can kind of see what that pivot is right over here. You can see that this is now starting to lose that bear pressure a little bit. Now, we are in the gravitational zone here. of the bear weakness percentile, which usually would pull us right back in to the bear strength percentile. So in this case, there is an area of support here from the gravitational zone. So let's see if we can actually make that move down to this area, which is very short. I mean, it's if anything, the buy daily and the 12-hour are kind of indicative of this target here of about 121. Okay, so and then the shorter time frames seem like they want to consolidate within that area too. Okay, so now moving on to the 3-day. The 3-day is actually losing that bear strength too. However, it's still pivoted towards the downside. And now upon the closure of the 5-day candle, you can see that it actually affected it even more, meaning that there's less bear strength. So another sign that it could be finding a floor soon. But please remember, any of this can be invalidated immediately by some type of immediate sell-off, right? So I spoke to someone recently regarding the day after the price action happened, when the Alpine Brokers thing extended to July. I spoke to someone saying that the downside is likely not priced in, and that would start the downside pressure to today, and that today the 131 level or 130 or whatever, it was highly likely based on that negative catalyst, right? So we were able to get that downside there. We are definitely within an inflection support level, so it is of high importance that we should take into high regard as well. Closing below this weekly support here, which is that 121 to 130. Okay, so any closure here with a minimum 8-hour candle below that 121 level would be indicative of a further downside continuation. But for now, it's looking like the price action is respecting this inflection point, and don't doubt the possibility of even having some wicks down to about 107, right? Because that's kind of particular to bear markets, right? We do have those wicks to the downside often, right? So let's just keep a close eye on it and continue the validation process here, okay, you guys? But please remember, I'm not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy or sell any assets whatsoever, okay? I need you to do your own due diligence, and everything will be good. All right. So, I think this is a pretty good place to leave off. If you have any questions or concerns, definitely reach out to me via Twitter or Discord. The links will be included in that description below. All right, you guys. But with that said, I wish you well a very good long weekend if you do have it, and I will catch you at the bell on Monday. Adios.